I'd like to introduce Val as my own personal trainer. Val has made a huge difference in my life, and so rather than Val just presenting, we thought maybe we would share a little bit of my story in kind of an interactive component. So Val, come on up. Thanks, honey. All right.
Hi, how are you? Michelle's been a very fun client for me. I've absolutely loved working with her. And sorry, I don't stand behind podiums. We're all over the place. There we go. Because whenever she's around me, she has to exercise. She never gets to just sit. So one of the big things is when she came in the first time, she was in a motorized scooter. Now she walks about a mile a day, and that's pretty amazing. She is a huge inspiration for everyone, me included.
Thank you. And when I came to Val originally, there we go. And when I came to Val originally, I was a regular exerciser. I did my 3 times a week, making sure I got down and used a stationary bicycle in my basement. And I was a regular exerciser, and I also did some other exercising of trying to walk a little bit at work. But I came to Val because I had experienced her benefits working with cancer patients, and I said, do you think there's even more I can do? I had gone to physical therapy, and there was no doubt. She said, yeah, there's a lot we can do.
And that's the key. Always, always check with your medical team. They are number one. Anybody that works with you in the fitness industry, they need to be,
Move this way.
They need to be specially trained, okay? That's a really important part. Other thing is we have contact. I have contact with physical therapists all the time, which I got a lot of guidance as to what she needed and how I could help her, which was a really interesting thing. Michelle's attitude is the #1 thing that has kept, I think, that has done more for her than anything else. We try 100 different things in a session. She'll come in, we'll talk, I'll see how her stuff went, her week went, her month went, and then I'll give her something to do, and it's not really working. So we try something else. I'm still trying to get certain things to work for her, but it's trial and error until we can achieve something, the movement patterns that we want to achieve. And we brought some toys today so we can show you some of the things.
Absolutely. One of the things that I went to Val for originally was how to increase my core strength. And Joanne talked about the importance of core strength in terms of balance and coordination. And I know that was a great value to me, not that I was ever going to become a marathon runner, but that I would be focused on improving my balance and my core strength. So that was one of my initial goals.
Sure. Okay. All right. There you go. Have a seat.
All right.
I'm just going to grab my little bag of goodies here. Now, everybody seems to think that when you exercise, you have to have some really advanced tools. Notice what this is? It's a paper plate. This is a great thing that you can do at home to exercise. So,
those of you who can see, fine. But basically, I'm placing my foot on the plate.
And one of the things with Michelle is to get muscles firing. That's really important. So even if her leg didn't want to do it that day, what we did is we put it on a plate, and I had her use her hand and push it out and pull it back in, thinking about the muscles working. Fake it till it's making it. This is essentially what happened. And that's what happened. I mean, the first time that she came in, you know, she was really using her arms a lot. What was really cool was a month later when she came in, she sat down, and I said, okay, so here, show me what you've been doing. And her leg went without any aid. And it was, you know, it was short, but it worked. And the coolest thing was, it shocked her as much as it shocked me, because I didn't expect it to move quite that much. But again, it was the consistency, her dedication to doing her workout. Yes, it can be frustrating, but You have to persevere. You keep on trying. And again, if one movement pattern won't work, we change the angle. We do something just a little different, and it seems to really have worked well.
One of the things that we talked about at the time when I first came to see Val, I used to call my left leg, which is my weak leg, I used to call it my dead leg. And Val said, it's not dead.
It's just taking a little nap.
So focusing on not just what you can do, but as Val has alluded, and I feel personally that I've had axonal repair. Do I have proof that I have had axonal repair to my MS? Clearly, I'm better than I was 4 years ago. There's been regeneration. And a lot of people ask, what's the success? Why do I have this tremendous improvement in my MS after being in a scooter for so long? And I always think it's probably a combination of things. The fact that I have increased my exercise, the fact that I'm very adamant about the role of exercise in my life. I think it's also the medications that I take, and a combination of God's blessing and being active every day and making that a priority for me. Also couldn't do it, obviously, without the support of family, coworker, friends that help me stay on track.
Well, and again, it's hard work. Don't let her push that over. It is hard work on her part. Now, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll give her about 4 or 5 different exercises to do, and about a month later she comes in and we change things around. The interesting thing is she knows that if she's having a tired day, do one exercise. Maybe later come back and do a different one. Maybe later come back and do a different one. Work it with how she's feeling that day. Nobody's going to feel the same way every single day. So you have to be flexible within your head and within yourself to stay consistent with it. This is the other advanced exercise equipment. You can buy these at the dollar store. They're very helpful. And actually, I copied out one of the workouts that I have given Michelle. They're over there on the table, along with another handout that's about exercise guidelines as to think outside the box. Don't think that it has to be an exercise routine type of thing. You know, your activity level is really important, and you have to enjoy it. I do have to tell you one thing. This woman can be a little strong sometimes. I gave her a routine to do. What happened? She hated it.
I didn't like that routine at all.
She wouldn't do it. She did not do it. When she was at the studio, she was like, it's okay. I'm getting something out of it. I'll try. Because that's, Michelle will try anything. God bless her. Try anything. Well, she comes back to the studio. I have it in my notes. And that's the other thing. If you work with a fitness professional, again, make sure they're specially trained. Make sure they're board certified. And make sure, if they're not taking notes while you're talking to them every single time you see them, you don't want to be around them. They have to be very, very specific on what, her file with me is about that thick. Very specific as to what I'm seeing, what's going on that day. So, on this big black magic marker, she hates this, refuses to cooperate. So, I thought that was kind of funny. But, you know, if you don't like doing something, you're not going to do it, right? That's the way it is. So this workout, like I said, is over there on a handout. And this is just a regular ball, okay? It says Pilates ball. You don't have to use a Pilates ball. And what this is doing is you can do this seated at home. Squeeze in and out. Squeeze that ball between. You can be above the knee. You can be below the knee. And what you're doing is you're activating pelvic floor muscles, you're activating your inner thigh muscles. And again, changing your leg positions, having your legs farther out, closer in, definitely will help with activating some muscles, okay? So core muscles are really important. And everybody in the world talks about core muscles. Anybody have a clue what core muscles really are? Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, think about everything in your trunk from your spine out. And this is going to include your pelvic floor, which of course, you know, any kind of bladder issues, that type of issue is going to be helped by doing certain exercises. So, you want to stand on up?
Mm-hmm.
One of the other exercises that I've had Michelle do is we use her kitchen counter a lot. Now, I've never been to her house. I teach her the stuff at my studio. Then she goes home, and we've talked about where she should put things, you know, where she should do things, and then she goes home and does them, which is great. The big thing here now is by standing right there, and all I want you to do, think about doing like a hip hinge. Just lift up and lift lower it. So, this is also called muffin top be gone, because a lot of people, this really works this area. But activating, because if you do have drop foot, you want to get everything working together, and this is really important. Don't think of an exercise as being just one little body part. It takes a village to move.
You see, it's a small movement when you just do the hip hinge, and then as Val advances me, then the other component of the hip hinge is actually swinging out, right, Val?
Swinging out, swinging back, but doing it with control. So it's lift up and push out, or lift up and push back. Doing this in a safe environment, and that's the biggest thing.
Right.
The other thing is, sometimes I always write out the workouts very specific for Michelle. She comes back and she has added things, little things, to make it harder for herself, which sometimes she thinks she's making it easier. It's not. But the thing is that she's challenging herself, again, in a safe environment. I've always had her near something so that she has control. She does push-ups on the wall. She does push-ups on the table. She does push-ups off of a countertop. She does narrow push-ups, wide push-ups. But she progresses because she does challenge herself. Now, there are some limitations. She knows some limitations, and you have to be smart. I mean, I'm not going to say, okay, everybody drop on the floor and give me 20. No, that's just silly. What it is you know your limitations, but push that edge just a little bit to see if those limitations could go a little farther away. That's important.
One thing I'm going to comment is she's talking about some of the floor work. When I started with Val, we avoided floor work because it was difficult to get down and get back up. But over time, we've added more challenging floor work. And part of my routine that's very, very valuable is bridging. And then we do have, should we mention the sexercise?
We can talk about sexercise. Yes.
Those are little pelvic tilts that
Circles.
also help with many other functions in your body that are important. So.
Yeah, and so, you know, I have an exercise I call pole dancing. Okay, it's really, you're just doing a bridge and you're lifting one hip higher than the other. But, you know, if you think about it, you can make it a little bit more fun and still get the exercises you want. And if you're thinking, sexercise, you're going to be more willing to do it, is my guess.
Exactly.
Now, one of the things when Michelle first came in was grip strength. So you can purchase these at, you know, any sporting goods store. It's just, this is a 1.5 pound weight. It has a Velcro handle that you can tighten, okay? And it slides on your hand. And so therefore, if your grip is a little bit not as strong as you'd like it, you can improve this. You can still squeeze and think, because that's the thing. Don't just sit there and, okay, the muscle's going to do what it, no. If the muscle isn't working the way you want it to, I still want you to think about the muscle working, and you can take your other hand and help it. But while you're doing that, you're thinking about this muscle activating and doing more. Well, prior to that, we had, I always leave a mess wherever I go. This is a hand weight. And this is actually designed for kickboxers to increase their strength and whatnot. But it's a glove that has a 1 pound weight inside it. So you can wrap that around your hand, keeping it tight. And now, even if you have, your fingers will not flex because of all sorts of issues, you can still get the exercise in and improve your strength. Because the more you use it, the better the better endurance you're going to have. And endurance is a really important factor in this. So.
And increasing strength, as Val was talking about the hand weights, I'm thinking about when we started really without any weights, and we've advanced, and Val can tell you, she had great designs for me from the very beginning to get up to 8 pounds, and so I'm up to 8 pounds.
That. Isn't that amazing? She started out with 1 pound weights. She can now do 10-pound bicep curls. That's pretty amazing. So one of the things also that you can do, and hydration is really important, so sorry, I'm always taking care of it, is use the water bottle. Use a water bottle. And you can use, if it's too heavy, drink half of it. Use half of the water bottle and add a little bit more. You can use that as your weight also. You know, there's a lot of different fitness things out there that you can get. And again, lots of different stores have them. But resistance bands are really good because you can stabilize with one side and have the other side move. And there's a lot of different things. We had a tube set up, which, you know, again, it's a railing around something, and she'll do different movement patterns. So we utilize interesting parts of her house all the time.
Absolutely.
Now with core stabilization, you guys got to see her do the hip hinge. Well, there's also things like, go ahead, you want to sit?
Well,
I'll sit.
Yeah, you were going to sit, but
I'll sit.
Just
Okay.
because it'll be harder to me up and down.
This is a Swiss ball, or also known as a stability ball. Now this one has sand in it. And no, I did not put the sand in myself. It came that way. So it's called a stay ball, S-T-A-Y ball. You can get them at Target, okay? What that sand does is it gives you more stabilization, gives you more stability. Now just by sitting on here, I'm having to keep my abs tight, my feet flat on the floor, and I'm working my core. I can wiggle my hips side to side or do the hip hinge that Michelle just did and increase strength. I had Michelle doing hip circles, lift a leg, move an arm to the front, move an arm to the side. All of that is going to activate all of these core muscles. Remember, from the inside to the outside. And that's really important. Now,
the other thing about using the ball from a practical perspective, keep it in your living room. And that way it's there, and you're going to be watching TV. You can get on the ball at the commercials, do a couple little exercises on the ball, hop off. Another exercise on the ball that I did for cardio was bouncing, literally bouncing on the ball up and down.
And she kind of squealed like a little kid, thinking it was kind of fun, it really was, it was fun.
Exactly.
But then you also can use the ball, especially if you have one with a little bit of stand in it, as your exercise tool, and lift and lower it. So, again, you can think outside the box. Just by picking that up, taking it up, setting it back down, you're essentially doing a deadlift. You're working your back muscles, your arm muscles, all of these great things. Again, think outside the box. We can do exercises with the chair. Have a seat again. I don't know what time it is, and Michelle and I always run over, so.
12 what?
52?
52. We got about 2 minutes. Okay, that's it.
I told you she's a tough taskmaster. So, I'm taking your microphone away. Sorry. One of the big things when she first came was that she struggled to get up out of a chair. It was really difficult. And so we worked on different ways, and again, trial and error. We tried a lot of different things so that she could get up out of a chair. So, you want to put just a little bit of weight on this for me? Just your foot on there. Yeah. Okay. So originally it was use a chair in front of her or a table and help pull yourself up.
So instead, hold that up. So again, forcing me to use those glutes and those quadriceps by not using your hands as much.
Then I took a hand away.
Now she's going to make me try to show off.
Now she's going to look, Mom, no hands.
No, that's not happening today.
She's tired. Okay.
I'm tired.
But again, think about doing an activity that you do on a daily basis. This is called functional training, which is really important. I want you to be as functional as possible in your daily living. Very important. I want you to be safe. Extremely important. But I also want you to realize that you can challenge yourself in a safe environment, challenge yourself, and you will see changes. Now, one of the big things I want to ask you, what changes did you see besides your strength improvement and your balance improvement? I mean, because you can't just measure it on, oh, she can now lift 10 pounds. There's a lot of other changes that happened with her prior to that.
I would say the changes that I saw was that I was able to do things for a longer period of time. I had a lot more endurance. I was able to go longer. I had much less fatigue. I felt like overall my balance was better. My risk of falls, my falling was significantly less. I found myself, even at work, wanting to get up and get away from my desk and take a walk during the workday. It changed my whole attitude about incorporating that exercise and fitness during the day, not just a one-time experience. That's about it.
And the other thing, just the last thing, is her posture totally changed. When she first came in, she had a very slumped posture, and she really relied on her cane. Actually, once she started working with just the canes, she really relied on them. She was really slumped over. And that's how I can always tell when she's tired, because she will. But now, if you look at her posture, she has really wonderful posture, but she understands working her back muscles are so much even more important than working the front muscles, because that's what helps keep us upright. So I hope you got some tips on this. My business card's over here. Feel free to email me with any questions you have, because I'll be glad to help you out that way. And thank you very much for coming out.
Thanks, Val.